We have a major update about the murder of a local musician, Dameon Chambers, known as Murphy Ranks, during the celebration of Juneteenth at the George Floyd Memorial Square, and the retribution that followed by the Minneapolis Police Department.
I got called later on, about a couple hours after being home. I got a phone call. Your husband just got shot. I saw a man and a lady came up to me. Come to find out it was a surgeon and a nurse. I said, well, if you're doing that, I already know what's going on. Maybe you have the wrong person. My husband, Dameon Chambers, tall, skinny guy. I heard he just got shot. They asked me to take a seat. I said, I don't feel like sitting right now. Can I go see my husband? He said, ma'am, your husband got shot in the head. He didn't make it.
All right, I'm going to briefly break down the crime scene as we've come to understand it so the public can know what happened to Dameon Chambers. An altercation began with a man at the George Floyd Memorial who had been harassing the community at large in the previous weeks. He'd publicly stated multiple times that he would kill protesters, that he wanted to end the whole thing, and multiple times had been asked to leave, and at least one neighbor had called the police about him. That night, the guy gets into a fight with a woman, and the community members around gather and start to shuffle him out off the block. Dameon Chambers sees it happening, knew who he was, knew that he had been a problem, and chooses to wave him down. Next, he tells him to get into his car, trying to de-escalate the situation. Eventually, the killer jumps into the back seat, and Dameon immediately begins to do a U-turn. He gets a quarter of the way through that U-turn, and a gunshot goes off. The car then careens perpendicular into the cars across the street. The killer quickly jumps out of the back seat. He claims that Dameon shot himself 4 times in the stomach and then runs off.
Let me start off by saying that day I was there with them. The block was lively, everyone enjoying themselves. Kids are out, fireworks. It was a beautiful day.
Dameon Chambers was murdered directly in front of his mother-in-law's house, inside the area which the police have deemed a no-go zone.
He offered to take the guy, his killer, Keyshawn Archer. Yes, I am going to say his name until he comes out, and whoever is hiding him, I hope to God. And the fact that I've been calling, his brothers have been calling the sergeant that is in charge of his case to actually get somebody to do something. Investigation, come out, take some witness statements. Everyone is willing to give it up.
So this is clearly a case of murder. Chambers was driving, he gets shot in the head, and the murderer gets out of the car and says that Chambers accidentally shot himself in the stomach 4 times. The only shot to Chambers' body entered just below his right ear and exited out the other side.
I really would like somebody to get off their high horse and do something. And if you guys don't want to be on the block, I mean, I have witnesses that are willing to meet anyone outside of the square, outside of 3800 Chicago Avenue.
Okay. Every time I saw Keyshawn, he was who I call loudmouth. He was threatening someone or arguing with someone or riding his motorcycle really fast through the memorial site and loud and protesting the protest. He was definitely a protester of the protest. And he threatened to kill people. He threatened to shoot people. And he had a gun. And showed that he had a gun.
And for you, Keyshawn, they're out there. I hope to God that you're not sleeping, that you're not eating. I hope you're going through what I'm going through, because you just took a husband, a father, a provider, my rock from me, and I'll never get that back. But what really gets me is the lack of what the cops are not doing. So my husband got killed over trying to de-escalate an argument. This person that's been on the block terrorizing the whole neighbors, the whole block. There's neighbors that see him every day for 2 weeks, going back and forth on the block, threatening people that he's gonna kill them. I mean, there's so many witnesses. There's so many things that he's been saying and doing that they've been telling the cops, and still yet they haven't done anything about his case.
According to security at the scene, attempts to gather and present evidence at the edge of the supposed no-go zone that night, as well as the next day at the precinct, have been outrightly refused by the Minneapolis police. And according to security and bystanders, police fumbled and tampered with evidence in the car by carelessly dropping evidence in the existing pools of blood on the streets. A month has passed, and there has been no investigation to speak of.
I had to wait a week before I could see my husband. And even then, I was still in disbelief. I didn't believe any of it. Here I am still thinking they got the wrong person. Can be my husband, and not Dameon. My husband is a careful person. He doesn't cause problems. He's more the one to help, always the first to help, always the smiling one, the one that goes out of his way, no matter how tired he is, to help a friend, or not even a friend, just help. Anything to get you guys to do your job or to do something about my husband's case. I would like justice for my husband, and not go off what a scared person word. The guy ran out the car and said my husband accidentally shot himself. I'm not buying it.
It's a silent retaliation by the cops, but loudly heard by the Chambers family and the whole community. It's a retaliation for the protest. It's a retaliation for the public outcry against police brutality. Their blue pride is preventing them from taking responsibility, and it couldn't be any clearer. The Minneapolis Police Department is actively letting a known killer roam free, and a grieving wife is doing a job that no one ever wants to do, fighting for justice for her husband. There's a killer on the loose. A known killer is out on the loose.
Feeling somebody telling you that you just lost the love of your life, my provider, my rock, father to 4 kids. How do you